something is coming, and the people who have been paying attention, they already know it. Jesse Watters stood in front of the camera, looked straight into the eyes of millions of Americans, and said 5 words that stopped the room cold. "You ain't seen nothing yet." Not as a joke, not as a throwaway line, as a warning, as a promise, as something that sounded less like television and more like a man who knows exactly what is sitting just around the corner, waiting. Now, when a man like Watters says something like that, some people laugh, some people roll their eyes. But the ones who have been watching closely, the ones who have been connecting the dots week after week, month after month, those people went quiet because they understood that this was not noise, this was signal. America right now is sitting in the middle of something it has never seen before. The political temperature is not just hot, it is burning. The battles being fought in Washington are not small arguments about policy. They are about power, about who holds it, who wants it back, and what they are willing to do to get it. And in the middle of all of that fire, Watters stepped forward and told the world this is only the beginning. What does that mean exactly? What has already happened that made him say those words with that kind of certainty? And what could possibly be coming that is bigger than everything that has already shaken this country to its foundation? That is exactly what this breakdown is going to answer, piece by piece, fact by fact, in a way that no other channel is going to give it to you. And stay on this video, because by the time it is over, the picture will be completely clear. And if this kind of reporting is what people have been looking for, then hitting that subscribe button right now is the smartest move, because what is coming next on this channel matches exactly what is coming next in the news. To understand why those words hit so hard, people need to understand where America has already been. Because the last few years have not been normal, not even close. There was an impeachment, then another impeachment. There was a pandemic that split the country in half, not just over health, but over freedom, over government power, over who gets to make decisions about people's own lives. There were riots in the streets. There were elections that tens of millions of people still argue about to this day. There was a man who got shot at during a rally and walked back to the crowd with his fist raised. There was a sitting president who was pushed out of his own race. There was a courtroom drama that ran like a television series. Except the man on trial was a former president of the United States. All of that happened. All of it is already in the history books. And Watters looked at every single one of those moments. All of that chaos, all of that noise, all of those dropped jaws and broken records. And he said that is nothing compared to what is next. That should make every person watching stop and think. Because if what has already happened was nothing, then what is coming must be something that this generation has genuinely never faced before. Not in this form, not at this speed, not with these stakes sitting on the table. The political machine in Washington right now is not slowing down, it is accelerating. The decisions being made behind closed doors today are going to land on the front pages of every newspaper in the world very soon. And when they do, most people are going to feel like the ground moved underneath them without any warning. But the warning is being given right now. That is exactly what this is. And the people who stay locked into this story from this moment forward are going to be the ones who are not caught off guard when the next wave hits. So what exactly is Watters pointing at? What is the specific storm that is building on the horizon? Because this is not about vague feelings or political drama for entertainment. This is about real policy, real power moves, and real consequences that are going to land in the lives of ordinary people. People who are just trying to pay their bills, raise their families, and live in a country that makes sense. The Trump administration came back into power with something it did not have the first time around: experience, anger, and a very long list of things left unfinished, battles left unfought, and enemies that spent 4 years sharpening their knives. The team that walked back into Washington this time did not come to make friends. They came to move fast, hit hard, and reshape the machinery of the American government in ways that's career. Politicians in that city have never seen and are not prepared for. Waters knows this. He has watched it up close. And what he is telling the audience is that the boldest moves have not even been made yet. The biggest fights have not even started yet. The names that are going to be at the center of the next major explosion in American politics, some of those names have not even entered the conversation yet. There are investigations being prepared. There are declassifications sitting in files that have not been touched yet. There are alliances being built quietly in corners of power that the mainstream media has completely ignored. And there are people in very comfortable positions right now who are about to find out that comfort does not last forever when the political tide turns completely. What Waters is describing is not a moment. It is a movement, one that started long before the cameras caught it, and one that is nowhere near finished. The people who think the story is winding down are reading the wrong chapter entirely. The story is just now getting to the part where everything changes. Now think about what that means for the opposition. Think about what that means for the people who spent years building walls, blocking moves, and betting everything on the idea that the pushback would eventually stop. It did not stop. It came back stronger. And now they are sitting across the table from an administration that has already proven it can survive things that would have destroyed any other political force in modern history. The Democrats right now are not unified. That is not an opinion. That is what the numbers show. That is what the internal fights show. And that is what the public statements from their own members show. There is a war happening inside that party about what it stands for, who it speaks for, and how it is supposed to compete against a political operation that keeps winning in places it was never supposed to win. And the media, the same media that has spent years telling the American people what to think, what to fear, and who to trust, that media is bleeding. Ratings are falling. Trust is collapsing. The audiences that once sat in front of those screens every night have moved. They are finding their news in different places, hearing different voices, and asking different questions than they were 5 years ago. That shift is not small. That shift is seismic. Because when the gatekeepers lose the gate, information moves differently. Stories that were buried get found. Documents that were hidden get read. People who were silenced find microphones. And suddenly, the version of events that was being carefully managed and controlled starts falling apart at the seams. That is the environment Waters is operating in. When he says those words, he is not speaking into a country that is asleep. He is speaking into a country that is waking up fast and demanding answers that the old guard is no longer able to dodge. The pressure building in this moment is unlike anything that has come before it, and it is about to find somewhere to go. And that somewhere, that is where history gets made, because when pressure builds long enough, when enough people wake up at the same time, when the stories can no longer be contained and the truth can no longer be managed, something breaks open, not slowly, not quietly, all at once. Like a door that has been held shut for years, finally giving way under the weight of everything pushed against it. That is what Waters sees coming. Not a small political victory, not a news cycle that lasts a week and then disappears, a fundamental reckoning. A moment where the country is forced to look at itself honestly, at what was done, who did it, who allowed it, and what it is going to cost the people who thought they would never be held accountable. The word accountability has been thrown around so many times in American politics that it has almost lost its meaning. Almost. Because there is a difference between saying the word and actually delivering it. And what is being built right now, the investigations, the declassifications, the shifting alliances, the awakened audience that is no longer accepting the managed version of reality, all of it is pointing toward a moment where that word stops being a talking point and starts being a consequence. Ordinary people feel this, not because they are following every press conference or reading every political document, but because they feel it in their daily lives, in the conversations at the dinner table, in the arguments online, in the sense that something is shifting underneath the surface of everything that looks normal on the outside. Waters said, "You ain't seen nothing yet." And after everything this country has already been through, every shock, every scandal, every moment that seemed like it could not possibly be topped, that statement does not land as exaggeration. It lands as the most serious and sober assessment of where America stands right now. The story is not over. It is not even close to over. And the people who stay informed, who keep asking questions, and who refuse to look away, those are the people who will understand exactly what is happening when the next chapter arrives. Stay locked in, because it is coming.